the Take Smith himself.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it. You know it's going to be good. Is that a yes or a no, man?
He's here.
Oh,
he's here. There he is.
Welcome to TBPN.
You gonna get me in here and get me out of here? Want some hot takes? Spice it up?
Yeah, I mean, you know what we're talking about. xAI, what's the take? Sustaining,
No, we got and so we technically have like 12 minutes, so we should probably just let you just go on a giga rant. But
just
first, I want to say you're the only person I know that's been getting more tan throughout winter, and I think it's because of all the tennis. But you also were you skiing recently?
It's because of the skiing, and I'm not done.
Okay,
I'm not done.
He's not done.
He's putting up 60 days on the Epic Pass or whatever.
No,
Epic
there's
Pass.
no passes.
What do you think
There's
I am?
no
A basic bitch?
Where there's no passes.
There's an app that you track your days in. I forget what it's called, but it's people track it.
Garmin. Maybe it's a Garmin.
Okay, Garmin.
Yeah.
Garmin.
There's no Epic where I go.
Okay,
Yeah.
There's no chairlifts. It's all helicopters and cats, right?
No, it is.
Listen, I'm just trying to live the VC dream.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
You're doing it. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Well, speaking
the
of
news
VC
broke,
dream,
probably
opine on something.
Yeah, you were probably midway down some peak when the news broke. But talk to us. What was your reaction? We had sort of I remained sort of long-term bullish. Elon having a sort of an AI bet, and
how could he not?
Yeah. And on this platform that we've built our show on. But to me, it's like, it's generally like complicated. There's a lot of ways to kind of like, maybe poke some holes in it. But I was curious to get your initial reaction as somebody who's been, bearish on just a lot of stuff in AI.
On everything except Meta.
Because the reaction was like
big
people were really
big tech.
Yeah, people were just like immediately like, yeah, this makes total sense, et cetera. But there's
so
more to
look.
it.
I actually think, to Elon's credit, it makes total sense if you're Elon, right? Like Elon is the king of cheap money, right? If no one played ZERP in history better than Elon, right? You basically come up with a long-term vision that can require infinite capital. You're the world's greatest marketer. You sell the shit out of it. You raise infinite free money and you build stuff, right? He did that great. Now it turns out the ZERP free money is over, but you know where there's free money? AI narratives, right? AI narratives is where the free money is. So obviously Elon's got to have an AI narrative because he's the king of free money. And so I think when you look at the Twitter X thing, he literally named them. They're like, how could they not end up combining? Like literally one was distributing the other. They're layered on top of each other. They basically have the same name. And to Elon's credit, in terms of pulling this off, what is this really? This is AOL Time Warner if Time Warner had like a ton of debt. Right? And so you use the zero cost capital inflated valuation thing, which is the AI thing, to buy the thing you also happen to own that's an actual asset. Twitter's great. I love Twitter, right?
Yeah.
But it also has tens of billions of dollar debt noose around it, right?
It's 12. It's not tens. It's 12 exactly.
Oh, 12s. Sorry. A 12 of debt around it. And what's not to like about it, right? If you're Elon, it's a great deal all around, is what I would say. But what does it actually add up to? Look, the entire question is, what are these, I call them mid-market AI players, actually worth, right? And that's again, as you know, I've been very consistent on this for years. If you're the biggest in the world and your cost of capital is zero, sure, build out a huge AI infrastructure. Ideally, one where it's non-cannibalistic, like Meta. Ideally one where you know how to make money off of it, like Meta. If you're a tiny baby player, take all the leverage. Fire your customer service team. Be more efficient. Hooray. But I think these mid-market players, I don't understand the numbers.
You said it makes sense for Elon, but I feel like when we were looking through the deal, it's like the Solar City Tesla acquisition.
100%.
And it looks good for the Tesla shareholders too, because they effectively get out at the same price they got in and at. They're in this new thing. If you're a Tesla shareholder, are you happy or not?
Well, wait, which one's Tesla now? Are we saying that xAI is Tesla? Because they're
no. So if you went in on the Twitter deal and you're sitting at X and the valuation probably went down and then it goes back up and you get out at 44, it's about where you got in, but now you're in this combined entity.
Well, let's put it this way. I think the question is, there's probably, and I don't know this, you guys probably do, there's got to be some market for xAI shares floating around on in markets, things that are worth what people are willing to pay for them. So if you bought into Twitter at 44 and it's not worth 44, despite the fact I love it, despite the fact you guys love it, it's just not, right? And all of a sudden there's a market for xAI plus Twitter at whatever the number is, and you can get out and you want out. Well, who cares, right?
So this seems like a win-win. It's not just Elon. Like the original Twitter/X shareholders are also happy.
But I guess so.
But if you're, I don't know, if you're an X.AI shareholder, it's just kind of, I mean, this kind of fits in the world of, we live in a world of spheres of influence right now. This is not my line, by the way. It's a smarter hedge fund friends of mine line, which is we've gone from kind of a legalistic, globally open market to a multipolar worlds of spheres of influence. If you bought into X.AI, you bought into Elon's sphere. If you bought into Twitter, you bought into Elon's sphere. What are things actually worth? Meh. Who knows? But you're kind of just betting on Elon holistically. And this is a nice consolidation, which, by the way, gets him out of a very large debt bill, right? That he was personally liable for in some way, shape, or form.
But I mean, it just feels like Tesla Solar City all over again. But if you play out Tesla Solar City, that deal worked out for everyone.
Well, but everyone sort of. It's not clear it actually worked out for Tesla shareholders. It's fine because it's a rounding error.
They're making $10 billion now. They're making Tesla Energy on batteries and stuff. Yeah, they pivoted away from that.
Did they need Solar City for that?
Maybe
I don't know.
I mean, maybe not.
If you think about it, the Solar City story, when it was pretty weak when it was acquired, it was we're going to stick solar panels on the roofs of Teslas, and that's why we should buy this thing. It didn't really make any sense, right?
And stick them in the house of the Tesla owner, right?
I mean,
it's like you're already there to install the battery pack, install the charger, install.
Look, I get it. I'm saying we all know. You look back on the history of that deal. That was this thing is about to die, bail out. I'll come up with a 1-page letter that justifies it because we're going to put some solar panels on the roofs or some shit, right? It was completely made up. Now, when number go up, all sins are forgiven, right? And so what I'd say is number go up, so everyone's fine, and no one's
he's the master of number go up.
He's the master of number go up, right?
So everyone should be happy.
That's the kind of story in general. I think there's a real Elon narrative, which is master of zero cost money master of narrative number go up, right? And the reality is it's kind of like very Roman, is as long as everyone's getting paid, everyone's on your side. Even Doge, right? The whole thing with the Dogecoin is brilliant. The best way to build more followers is to get them paid, right? And Elon has been the king of that. Now the question is, it works in both directions, and we'll see how that plays out now. But
I think what I'm interested in is I want to hear Elon speak for an hour about the combined entity and what that really means versus data and distribution, right? The two narratives have been xAI gets distribution, X and sort of data, so it makes sense. But for me, it was more easy to visualize how X was worth $44 billion when it's sort of an Elon pure play sort of social media bet in a strategic influential asset. And if he is able to continue to grow earnings and grow the importance of the platform, it's easy to see how that's maybe it's $100 billion company someday. Now you have xAI, and it's you're sort of looking at this collective entity being it's a pure play founder bet at this price.
I mean, look, in the end of the day, the problem with all this AI stuff is it's either worth infinity or zero. And no rational person can do a discounted cash flow on an infinity or zero, right? And I think that's kind of where everyone's stuck, which is why it's so narrative dominated. Personally, I have to say, I actually quite like Grok. I use it. I have on my home screen Grok and OpenAI and all of them next to each other. And when my finger goes, which button do I press? I press Grok. You know why? Because it's kind of marginally faster and fun, whatever. I don't know what that's worth, right? But we'll see, right?
Well, the bull case for that behavior is that Grok could replace Google for a lot of stuff.
I say Google's a multi-trillion-dollar company. You slice it up, and all of a sudden you're getting a couple $100 billion bets.
Maybe
discount both.
This is a mistake.
Maybe
this is a mistake that people make, I think, consistently when thinking about AI, which is the story of will you use LLMs to look things up? Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're definitely going to use them. But the idea, it's kind of like the same stories when people say, hey, I pay accountant $120,000 a year. AI accountant $10 a year, therefore AI accountant worth 120 times per, that's not how it works. It's just it's worth 10, and like it's all about the marginal advantage. And so it's not clear to me. I mean, it is very clear to me that a lot of search volume that currently goes through Google and gets resolved by, shitty web pages people have set up to farm those searches that behavior goes away.
Yeah.
Where commerce go, where the ads dollars actually go, and whether just search is like it's just not the same market configuration anymore, and who gets that money. That's all like really TBD is my view. And it's really unclear. I mean, again, it's a very binary game. So that's the one. So I think it's very hard to value right now. But I think the big picture is like, so long as private investors are willing to foot the Hail Marys, the binary outcomes, and believe that, again, Elon is the king of cheap money.
How do you feel about market concentration? Google has like 99% of the search market. Meta has 99% of the social networking market. It feels like LLMs could be a little bit more oligopolistic on the consumer side, but if history is any guide, like these monopolies kind of run away with it at some point. What are you feeling?
I think the question is if you think really what I'd say what Google and Meta are is they're not technologies, they're economies, right? And this is I think the mistake people make is if you think that Google's a technology company and Google Search is technology purely, and you're like, wow, technology tends to compound and run away, then you're like, yeah, like this would end up that way. Same thing with social networking. There's no actual technology. I mean, yes, there was like some stuff Facebook invented on the way to scale, but like it's not fundamentally a technology company, it's an economy.
Yeah.
And I think that the problem with LLMs is people are equating them to an economy, but they're not. They're just a technical level. Now, if someone actually nailed everyone's pouring every single thought they have into it and all the knowledge of the world into the LLM, and then that single element aside is like the smartest fucking thing in the world.
But that's what they're doing with this deal.
Yeah, but they're not.
You go on X and you get paid a creator payout for bringing information to X, and then that gets siphoned into xAI and Grok gets better answers.
Agreed. But here's the thing that you have to understand, and this is really important, is one of the big economic failures of the internet is that the economy of the internet, both social and search, is actually driven around entertainment, right, and engagement, not around information or truth, right? And so the reality is, what you're basically at best, that's what the economies work. That's why we're so screwed on so many things, is because there's actually no economy of truth. There's an economy of entertainment. And I think that's going to get quashed in a bunch of ways because, again, if nothing else, and LLMs do generate infinite free personalized entertainment, right? And like that's going to like crush that economy. It's not clear to me. I mean, I can tell you the vision where yes, for some reason X becomes this machine that pumps all of the world's knowledge, and then somehow Grok has some fundamental advantage on knowledge. I can tell you the story, but I don't see any indication of that actually being what's played out. And I would argue that, again, that was the same story Google had, didn't play out that way. It ended up being a commerce engine, and a bunch of like, dead internet theory stuff. Unfortunately, it's not the way that social played out either, because social is just like a dopamine feed. Unfortunately, it's not an information machine. And so that's really the question of how you get there. And I will see. I am very skeptical that the mid-market players who are saying LLMs are a compounding economy actually have anything right now. I think they have technology that's pretty fun and it's all pretty undifferentiated. But we'll see.
Where do you think xAI would trade if it were to IPO tomorrow?
Well, so this is a really interesting question, right? Because basically you have two dynamics at play. Either it's traded as a meme coin, right? If it's traded as a meme coin, it might be huge, right? It's the same thing with like, Mr. Beast wants to go public. We talked about him the last time I was on. It's like if Mr. Beast's, public company trades like a meme coin, it trades like GME, then it might be a very, very large number. If it trades on a discounted cash flow basis or as like a traditional accepted business, the way like not very well, right? And so I think that's really just the question, as the retail versus enterprise versus like effectively real serious business world compete, how these things trade is all about the marginal buyer, right? And what that marginal buyer's belief system is as much as anything else.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, we got to move on to the next interview.
Bye, friends.
Thanks for coming on. Talk to you soon. He said bye, friends.
Bye.
Great to have you, Sam. Thanks for coming on.